Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with life on a budget. Today, what I pulled out of the fridge, as you know, each Friday I try and pull things out of the fridge and decide, okay, what do I need to use up this week? This week, I need to use up some yogurt. I need to use up some savory. And I have a piece of chicken. So guess what? That's what we're going to put together. But I'm also going to be showing you how I make my own pita bread. A lot of you have shown interest in that. So I'm just going to show you how simple it is to make and how I just throw it all in together and how I tell that it's right. And I think that's the important thing, all right? As you know, I'm not big into measuring things, but I do know when it looks right. And that's what I want to discuss with you. And I've got a very simple way of showing you that. And there's nothing like seeing it in real life that makes it work. All right, so hi there to Jody and hi to Isabel. Good to see you both. And let's get on with the show. I've got the caloric, what do you call it? Air fryer. It is on at 375 because this is my pita that I made earlier in the week, and I just rolled it out and I've left it just to relax and everything. So now I'm going to take it off here and put it into the oven to cook for a little while. I'm going to put it in for 10 minutes at 375. I find that works just perfectly, and let me show you why. Oops, that doesn't look good. Okay, so the reason I wanted to cook that up first is so you can see why I find it so easy. I want you to, this is what I do every day. I turn my air fryer on at 375. I let it heat up. I take my little portion and I do weigh it to make sure I got the right amount. And then I just literally do what you've just seen me do. And I do that every day. That's my allowance of pita bread or bread every day. And some of you know I am somebody who's diabetic but controls their diabetes by diet. And I must admit that I'm very touch wood. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to keep it under control. But one of the reasons I believe I have is because I worked hard to find out what can I eat. I didn't want to know what I can't eat. I wanted to know, can I create a lifestyle where I can eat things and not have to worry about it? And that's what I did. And I did give up some things. For example, I very rarely have potato, but that's worth it to me. If I have pasta or if I have rice, I cook a third of a cup. You know, that sounds like nothing, but I assure you, add enough vegetables to it and good stuff to it, it feels like an absolute delight. How many of you saw how much a third of a cup turned into last week when I was making that pasta dish? And by the way, I threw away 1/3 of that. I had 2 meals out of it and still threw away some. That's how far it went. Isn't that amazing? I mean, just from a few leftovers, and it was so tasty. By the way, I did add one thing, just so you know. Before I ate it each day, I added a tablespoon of Major Grey chutney. I love Major Grey chutney with that sort of a dish. Yeah, it was the ramen noodles, right, with the vegetables. Yeah, and cream cheese and all sorts of good stuff, right? All right, so now then, while that is cooking, I wanted to talk a little bit about savory. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because I don't think it is an herb that many people seem to know about or use. And the reason I want to use it is because of what its benefits are. All right. It prevents, they say, the risk of cancer. Now, obviously, I haven't been eating it, so there's still a possibility that I could have that problem. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. But it also, funny enough, prevents a lot of diabetes. It reduces your blood pressure, which is a good thing. It detoxifies the body. We like that. They say it improves bone health, improves skin health. At 75, I think I'm doing pretty well, don't you? Anyway, and it controls rheumatoid arthritis, which I'm very interested in because you can probably see this finger has already distorted from rheumatoid arthritis. It promotes digestion, which is good. It boosts your immune system, which we love, and improves cardiovascular health. Now, quite honestly, if it does all of those things, then why wouldn't we eat it? And the reason I found it in a store a couple of weeks ago, um, uh, and it was just, yeah, it's a powerhouse, absolutely. But what I wanted it for was to have it inside my house in the winter because it smells. It smells so good. What does it smell like? It's sort of not quite sage, but that's sort of that. It smells a bit like sage, but the taste is peppery. All right, so it just so that you know, it doesn't have a funny taste. It actually tastes very much like pepper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding that to what I'm cooking today. I've got a big bag. This always amazes people in the States. We buy our yogurt by the pocket like this. If you want to, you can also buy it the way that the Americans do. But you can buy it like this. And this is the way I buy it because it's much more cost effective. And quite honestly, it lasts me forever. And that's another reason. But I've got a big thing of it, so I want to use some up. And I'm going to be using some of it in my pita bread mix. And I'm also going to put some of the savory in there as well. You see, what I'm finding is that adding those sort of things into your bread or whatever, you're getting the benefits of it, but you don't see it. You don't have to think about it. You know, I'm going to have my pita every day. So I try to add different good things into my pita bread so that I can enjoy them. So let's do this. First, I want to turn my pita bread over. Now, I could measure this all out and do it perfectly, but I probably would mess it up that way. Does that make sense to anybody? Because I never measure stuff, if I tried measuring it, I'd probably get the amounts completely wrong. So I'm going to start off with some yeast. And I'm going to pour some into my hand. Oops. And I would say I'm probably going to use about a teaspoon, maybe. Not a tablespoon. All right, so I'm going to throw that in. And we know that if you're going to use yeast, then you also need some sugar. This is a special mix that I use. I use a mixture of brown sugar and stevia. And we also know if you're using yeast, it's a good idea to have some salt. So I got some pink Himalaya salt, not too much. And I'm going to throw in just a sprig of the savory. I'm not quite sure what it'll taste like in pita, so we're going to find out. So I'm just going to put some in there. I probably could do with 2 sprigs. What do you think? Okay, I've probably gone overload now, but I don't mind. My gut says that should be fine. And I found with a lot of herbs, don't worry about putting the stalk in there. You know, it all has the same taste to it. So I don't get too fussy. I've got, just so you know, I've got a mixture of different things. I've got oats, I've got white flour, and this is a blend of whole wheat flour and rye flour. Okay, that's what I use. So the first thing I do, one second. I'm going to take some out here. Always easy to add it back in again, but I think that's a bit too much. Oops. So I about half fill about 1/3 of flour, white flour. Okay. Then I add I don't know if you can see that. I add about that much. It's about half an inch to an inch of the mixture. All right. And I'm going to put those away for now. Flaxseed. Probably a tablespoon. Chia. Again, about a tablespoon. Ah! Chicken and yogurt in Turkish. I don't even want to try that, but I'm going to show you in a second. All right, so now I've got flaxseed and I've got chia seed in there. I'm also going to add a little bit of milk powder. That would be about half a cup, I think. And now I'm going to put in some yogurt. There we go. I'm going to mix all that up. And it needs more. Now you could, I don't know if you can see. What I look for is when it starts to, can you see it starting to pull away and create a ball here? So that means I'm getting close to being the right consistency. So I'm going to mix it some more. And I know you're not going to believe this, but that's it. How many of you would like to make bread that easily? All right. I know it's the right consistency because none of it is sticking to the side of the bowl. It's all creating in here. And now I'm just going to let it rest for a while we carry on. And there is the pita pocket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to show you. Yeah, it is perfect. It's so difficult, right? I want to tell you, if you're not making your own bread, I've got to ask why. There's nothing like fresh baked bread. It's fun because I see that we don't need a big machine. No, I mix mine in here. I've done it in my magic bullet when I just want a little bit. But this is enough to keep me going for 5 days or more. All right. Anyway, I'm going to cut this so you can see. Now, obviously, it's going to be hot, so I'm taking a tea towel just to hold it. And there you have a beautiful pita, all right? And it's thin. And what I will do is I will put, once it's cooled down, I will put lettuce on there and then cheese and cucumber and whatever else. Isn't it awesome? And I want to tell you, anybody that's come to my house and I've served these, they've all gone home with them because they went, wow, I had no idea that you could make healthy pita bread and it could taste so good. And you can almost see through that. I don't know if you can see that. This is thin enough that you can almost see through it. The bottom is a little thicker. But how difficult was that? 10 minutes in the oven. So now, while I've got to tell you something, it's the funniest thing. This cardigan, I don't know if you can see, but it's got, yes, you can. You see it's got stripes down it like this. Okay. And I want to tell you, I keep going around and I think I've got a hair. You know what I mean? Because it looks the same as if one of my hairs had fallen out. It would look roughly the same. And I keep trying to pick my hair off my cardigan. I don't have any. All right. So I'm putting the oven back on at 425. And the reason is I found out that it is the quickest way to just sear meat. We don't want hair in the bread. No, you're right. Absolutely. Isabel got it. All right. So let me just wash my hands. And what I'm going to do with the chicken is I'm going to put in a little bit of oil. 2 spritz of oil. A little bit of soy sauce. And last but not least, I'm going to put in a little bit of lemon juice. And I'm just going to mush that all around. All I'm really doing is I'm going to leave it in there for about 5 minutes just to sear it, and then we will cook it. There we go. Now, I've also got some Canadian back bacon. I've find that if you are short of money, getting back bacon is a better bang for your buck because you're not wasting it all on the fat. And the taste is just as good. So, it's funny that I love it in my, when I'm making a pita or something. So I'm going to actually just bake a couple of slices of back bacon as well, just so I can show you. And basically, back bacon is just pure meat. And it's going back in the fridge. All right. Now let us make our chicken. I was talking at the lunchtime broadcast about my cloche. All right, I've got this silicone cloche. And what it does is it basically, you put stuff in it, and then it sort of keeps it all steaming inside while it's cooking. And it really does great work. So what I thought I would do is I do a chicken dish in here. All right, one dish, not going to use a whole lot of different dishes. Yum. All right. So, do you know how to stop? Do you know how to stop yogurt separating when it cooks? I don't know if any of you have had that. Where's my coffee? Really? I knew there was something wrong and I couldn't work out what it is. Or what it was. All right, so that was the question. If you want to, by the way, is yogurt healthy for us? Pretty sure you know the answer to that. So try and use yogurt regularly. It's a probiotic, good for your digestion. And this one happens to be a vanilla one, but it's very healthy, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting in some yogurt. I'm going to put in about 2 cups. That feels about right. Because I've only got 1 chicken breast here. So about that much. And then here's the magic thing. If you want to cook with yogurt, but you don't want it to separate, experiment, people. Good idea to use either a little bit of flour or some cornstarch. Now, I use, as some of you know, I cook a lot with Bisto to make gravies and things. So this is Bisto. I've just put it into here. And I'm just going to put in some Bisto into here, about a tablespoon. And what we're doing now is giving it the body it needs so that it won't need to separate. You didn't know that, Jody? Well, I'm always glad when I can teach you something. So just going to mix it in. You can use flour or cornstarch, but I'm using chicken Bisto because that will give me that chicken flavor as well. And basically what Bisto is cornstarch with flavoring in it. It's already got all the seasonings in it. So this is the chicken one. They also make a beef one. Okay, so now we've got a sort of cream colored. Time is going off, yep, because the chicken's ready to go in. Okay, so we've got that in there. But before we add the chicken, let us put in some veggies. Come on. My mandolin has seen better days. Okay. So I'm going to put in some carrot. I know you all have a little cow when I do this. Okay, we're going to put in some carrot. I've got some onion. I'm going to throw in. I've got some cabbage left over from last week. So we'll put in a leaf of cabbage. There we go. I have got some celery left over. nice and easy. And I have got some yellow pepper left over. Interesting. Kimmy's saying she made a smoothie with real yogurt and it was so sour I couldn't drink it. Yeah, I'm inclined to add things. You know what I throw in, Kimmy? Some raspberries or a strawberry or some orange or an apple. You know, just something to take the that bitterness away. All right, I've got some yellow pepper I'm going to throw in as well. And I bought a leek this week. Now, I could have got it out of the garden, but it was on special at my store, so I bought some. What can I say? Glutton for spending money. And I'm going to use the green part because I actually like all of the leek. I find it all very good. And we know that the dark greens are good for us, so let's put some dark green in there. How healthy are we so far? So I'm going to mix that all up. And then my chicken is all nicely seared. Okay, and now I'm going to put it in to cook for half an hour. All right, people, what did I do with my... There it is. So I've got my bacon ready for my pita. Gonna give this a quick stir. Am I going to throw this away? No, I'll keep this to add to a stew, another stew. So we've got, that can go away, that can go away. Bear with me 1 second while I put these away and make a bit of room so we can work with the pita bread. All right. Now I'm going to put this in the fridge because I'll be using it tomorrow when I have my pita tomorrow. And I go back in the fridge. Quite simple. Now, I didn't add any oats in, so I'm just going to add a few oats just on the at the last moment. So I'm adding about a cup of oats. Good fiber. Put that away. What I really encourage you to do is to add more herbs and spices into your food so that you don't notice that you're doing it. Yeah, Kimmy's still talking about her fruit is also so sour now. Interesting. I think between the yogurt and the fruit, that's what made it so sour. Yeah, adding a teaspoon of honey is a really good idea. I must admit, I work with vanilla yogurt so that, it's already got that sweetness. So, all right. Anyway, so let's go with this. So what I do after I've got it all mixed like this is I just turn it upside down on my board. Can you see how easily it came out of there? And that is because it is all holding together nicely. See that? And this is almost completely clear. That means I did a good mixture. And now, really difficult, I get out my little measure, and we'll do it in ounces because I know majority of you speak American, but I'll make sure I mention it in. Okay, what I try to do is about 4 ounces of dough. There we go. And that would be about 110 grams, all right? And that's what I need. So I just keep going like this. A little bit too much. Not enough. Just about. Now, because the machine has done all the kneading for me, you can see. Oh, that's good, I'm glad you'll try it. But you can see I'm not getting all nasty or anything, right? The food processor has done most of the work. Pretty sure that's way too much. Yep. So that's what I allow myself, 4 ounces of dough a day. Now, how I use that dough, as you know, is up to me, all right? Sometimes I'll turn it into a pizza. Sometimes I will dip it in, I will bake it like focaccia bread, and I will dip it in oil and vinegar as a treat. Sometimes I will, as I will today, right, have my pita bread. But what I want to show you is how many pitas I get out of just doing that amount that you saw. Spot on. It was a good one. That's too much. Yep. Oh, no. There we go. And I try and get them sort of pretty much the same size. I've got that much left, which is 11 ounces. So I'm just going to halve that. So these two are going to be bigger. They're going to be, yeah, these are both going to be a little bit bigger. Now, these bigger ones I use sometimes just when I feel like having a bun. All right. So what I will do is I will actually keep it like this, so I know that's a bun. Make sense? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pita breads and 2 buns. Now I could have a bun anytime by joining a couple of those together and making a big bun, right? But what I do now, and I do this once every week or so, depends, it's about a week to 10 days, is I will put them into a bag like this, and then I will just squash it flat. Like that. And I squash it flat like that because it stacks nicely in my freezer. And it basically is my pita bread almost totally rolled out. I can take it out and then just roll it thinner. Does that make sense? I don't know how many I've got here. So I take a lot of the work out of it just when I put it in. I'm going to need to get some more. Now you're probably saying, but you didn't put oil or anything in it. Nope, I didn't. But if I wanted to, I could spritz it with oil and then just, mush it all up again and roll it out again. So if I'm doing something where I think it, would be nice, but I try not to add too much oil into my diet. All right, let me get some more baggies. Any questions? Yeah, Jody's saying a very versatile dough. It's versatile because I choose to, I don't get all fussy about it has to be this sort of dough or that sort of dough. Sometimes I've got some chicken, what do you call them? Chicken frankfurters in my freezer. So sometimes I will pull this out and just make a hot dog. So you understand, it's just like I know it's the right amount. That's what I'm interested in, that portion control. And as you've all seen over the months and years, that it works because I keep coming in with the same thing. You have got a Ninja as well. I want to tell you, I did not once regret buying my Ninja. It's worked very hard and it's worked very well. So you've got the blender. Right, Jody already knows me very well. She said you could wrap the hot dog in the dough or make it as a separate bun. You see, sometimes, Jody, I'll wrap it in the dough and make it a all-in-one hot dog, but then I'll cut it up into little bits. Yeah, I want to tell you, have you got the base like that one? The big base? If you've got that, you can just buy the processor separately. You know, they're both very useful, in my view. I don't know if you know, but I also use mine as a garburator. I don't have a garburator here. And sometimes if I want to garburate stuff, I just throw it all into my Ninja blender, press the button, and take it to the garden and feed my garden. Right, that's the bun. What did I do with the other bun? It was the heavier one. Oh, well, not a problem. Duh. Oh. This one doesn't want to seal. Why? Not a major. Now, would you agree this has not been what you might call terribly difficult to do? And remember, this is now enough for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 helpings of bread. I need one more. Hold on a second, people. And what I keep trying to remind people of, all right, is that I know exactly what goes into my dough. There are no funny things in there. It's all exactly what I know about. And I think that gets more and more important. I believe half the reason we have the problems that we do is, all the added stuff that they're inclined to put in. Now, by the way, I wanted to ask you, can you see any green in there? You remember I started by putting in the savory. So that's going to remain a bun. think this was the other bun. It's bigger. All right, so I call this meal prepping on steroids, right? Kimmy, you're saying that they're probably really expensive now. Why don't you make a note to make sure you pick one up next Black Friday? Mind you, that's if you use, what do you use as a, mine doesn't do slices, all right? It mixes well. I use it mostly for bread, quite honestly. So how about that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep out about 3 and 1 bun, and that'll be for the next few days. Now they stay in my fridge, and by the way, they carry on, developing in the fridge. It's amazing. I don't know if you can see this, but this is one that's been in the fridge. Can you see that it's got the air pockets in it? And that's just carried on doing its thing in the fridge. And these ones are going to go in the freezer. And when I've got them in the freezer, I just pull them out the night before and leave them on my countertop, and they're ready. How long in the fridge? Until I need it. I've had them in there for a week sometimes. I'm just going to huck these into my freezer before I forget. So you understand that literally now I've got over a week's worth of pita bread. And I normally try and keep about 3 days on hand. And the reason for that is in case somebody else turns up and I want to make 2. All right. So I always try and make sure I've got enough to do that. If somebody comes to visit, I will make 2 pita breads. So, and it's very impressive when people come to visit. They're in awe of it. I no longer buy burger buns. Why? This is exactly what you need to put a burger in it and all the bits. And it's healthy. I know what's in it. That's the important thing. Huh. What was that? I hear my phone. I don't know why I hear my phone. Maybe it's my camera. I think that's the noise of my camera. I just want to check. Ah, no, everything is fine outside. Okay. I'm a bit concerned because the high winds are going to be starting up, and I want to know how many times that sets off my camera. You know, I've got this light bulb that is also a camera. It's amazing. That looks about done, people. Let's check it. I forgot to put the probe in it before I started, but it does look about done to me. Veal, chicken, medium. Okay. than I thought it was going to be. All right, so in less than an hour, all right, that chicken is now cooked. And look at the sauce all around it. It hasn't separated. So let's put that onto a plate so you can see. It's nice and juicy. Let's go from the thicker end and see. Yep. So what I'm going to do so one chicken breast, all right, is 2 meals for me now. And again, just see that that sauce has not separated at all. That yogurt didn't separate because I added the little bit of cornstarch to it to start with, right? And so I'm going to let that cook a little bit more. That thicker piece wasn't quite done in one place. So although I'm sure it's healthy enough, I just want to make doubly sure. But I certainly don't want it to dry out. So I just put it back into the oven. And gonna let it just cook a little bit more. Now, I haven't finished cooking it yet. What I wanted to talk to you about is how I can make two completely different meals out of this. What I've got is the base. It depends what sort of spices I put on as to what the meal becomes, right? So this is not what I'm looking for. Pretty sure this is turmeric. Yep. So I'm going to be adding a little bit of turmeric onto mine and lots of black pepper. So I've got a sort of like a curry flavor tonight. And then, maybe what else could we add on the other one? See, what I want you to see is the base is the important thing. That's already cooked and that it's all ready to go. And it's like a 1 cup serving, which is the portion control. Did you see how much of the plate it took up? And so I very rarely eat it like that. What I would do is fill up the other side with maybe tomato or cucumber, just so that I've got, some, if I want more food, that's what I would eat. Any questions? Any comments? How about you could then take some, I've got some, on the second one, I think I would cover it with banana and then grill the banana over the top, which will make it really sort of Caribbean. Or I could add pineapple on the top and grill that. You understand, there's so many different things you can do to just make the changes once you've got the base of it cooked. But what I wanted to show you was that was just literally in the cloche, right? One thing to wash. That's the cloche, and that rhymes. What does it taste like? That's a good point. What did I put in there? Okay, I want to tell you. Obviously, I'm not enjoying this at all. And as I keep saying to Jody, it's a good job this hasn't got a pattern on it. Otherwise, I'd probably lick the pattern off. For some reason, I didn't expect it without the seasoning to taste this good. And I'm not quite sure what I put in there that created that. That's a bit of leek. Still just a bit crunchy, just how I like it. Pretty darn easy. And all done within 1 hour. Yeah, the Bisto probably gave it the extra taste, yes. And it almost tasted like I put lemon juice in there, which I didn't. I lie. I put lemon juice into the chicken, right, with some soy sauce. That's why it has that little tang to it. It was a good tang, not a bad one. That's another thing, put slices of lemon over the top. Would be another one, or limes, right? What I want you to see is there's so many ways. I try to add a lot of my fruits in. You could put oranges over the top and grill it. You could put apple over the top and grill it. And just give yourself that added incentive to eat more fruit. And also it would add, sweetness to it. To me, it's like the natural sweetness is a good way to go. If you can add fruits for your sweetness, that's always a good thing. But we know it's got a lot of savory in it. Now, the one thing I want to warn you about, remember all the good things about savory. Remember all those good things I told you about. One of the things I had to research was, can I take this? Can I eat it before a biopsy? Did any of you think of that? And I worked on the fact that I worked on the fact I've got Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. I've got 4 Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. I got 3 nights for that to get out of my body. I believe that herbs normally take 24 hours to leave the body. But I am aware that it can be considered a blood thinner of sorts. And, obviously they don't want you taking that. So I will be, I'm hoping that it'll all work out. But I hadn't thought about that until the very last moment. And I thought, wait a minute, because it's so good, herbs are really very good. Yeah, you didn't even think of that, Jody, right? So maybe you could ask the question your side to see if you get the same answer as I did. It wasn't on the high. By the way, I wasn't told not to eat certain herbs or anything. I just wanted to check that out. So it's there for the taste, but it is. I don't believe it'll do me any harm. And as I said, the medicinal part of it will leave my body within 24 hours. So I've got lots of space. I got another 2 days after that. So I won't eat both lots before the biopsy. I'll eat one tonight and then have one maybe the night of my biopsy. Nah, maybe not. That's a good point. Maybe we'll freeze it and have it in about a week when my biopsies had a chance to heal. You got to think about a lot of things these days, haven't you? But I'm really good. So that's it. I wanted to show you, number one, why I wanted that wonderful aroma in my house. How many of you can imagine that just walking into my house now smells like Tuscany? That's what it made me think about, right? It smells like Tuscany in my house. And I don't know if I can keep it going, but we'll find out. But I certainly love the taste. And remember that I'm adding it now into my pita bread, but I can't see it. But there's just a little bit in here. So I'm finding lots of different ways to add the good stuff in. It's called savory. Kimmy? All right, Savory, savory. Thank you, Jody. Just for the people who might be watching it on the replay. All right, so think about it. Think about the value of herbs. And I want to just go through it again, right? They say that it helps, protect to a certain extent. Who knows, right? In terms of prevents the risk of diabetes if you haven't got it already. If you eat it, it's good for you in that terms. Reduces blood pressure. It detoxifies your body. It improves your bone health. It improves your skin. Controls your rheumatoid arthritis, which is why I was very interested in it. Promotes digestion, boosts your immunity, and improves your cardiovascular health. My question is, when it's that tasty, why would you not add it to your food? And is it going to matter? I'm going to actually drop some in with my salads as well. Just take a sprig and cut it up in my salads. That's what I'm trying to say to you, is that I'm finding more and more ways to eat better, but also to add things into my diet that are good for me. So there we go. This is DearMamaSal saying, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to enjoy my chicken. I probably will inhale it. You notice I didn't have any pasta in there or any carbs at all. It's just the only thing I've got in there is yogurt. Chicken, yogurt, and vegetables. So do you understand? And the portion control is there. And that's the other thing, all right? I turned one chicken breast into 2 meals. It's doable. I would never, a year ago, I would have had to have eaten a whole chicken breast, especially if I didn't have potatoes or pasta. I mean, hello. Now I don't need it. It's amazing the difference. And I must say that that has surprised me no end. So do you understand that as well shows up in my budgeting? All right. Whereas before I would need so many chicken breasts a month, I don't now. So it's this portion control also helps me with my budgeting. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you for being here. I hope it was fun. Remember to add a little bit of yogurt to your meal. And you can do it and use it as a sauce, as I did. But remember to add either a little bit of flour or a little bit of cornstarch. Or in my case, I used Bisto because that's one of the ingredients in Bisto that makes the gravy. All right. And I assure you that it was very tasty. I think you saw it. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thanks for being here. And we'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for the help, Jody.